Hello viewers and welcome to Wargame Red Dragon. I'm your host PPG Chu, and today we'll be starting our Let's Play for this particular game. So, the game has come out of open beta now, and campaigns are finally introduced. Currently there's 4 of them. You really just play as South Korea, China, United Kingdom, and the USSR so far, although I believe they're actually going to implement a 5th one soon, and the title for that one will be like the Second Korean War or something like that. They did have a post on it. On the forums, and was really rather excited for that one. So anyhow, in the meantime, I figured we might as well check one of the easier scenarios first, and then probably do one of the harder ones. I'm currently thinking of doing the Busan Pocket and the Pearl of the Orient. So with that sort of said, let's do the easy one first, as it makes sense, and we'll just sort of play on from here. Now, yeah.
June 10th, 1987. South Korean dictator Chung Do-won, having reached the end of his official presidential mandate and willing to step down, announces his choice for a successor. This appointment, which oversteps any electoral process, triggers the wrath of the students and the liberals, who were hoping for democratic reforms. June 10th to the 18th, 1987. In a matter of days, over 1 million protesters take to the streets all over the country. U.S. forces in Korea are ordered to remain on lockdown in their barracks. North Korea does not fail to notice the situation in the south. Agents infiltrate designated circles in order to increase the level of chaos, while military forces are put on alert. June 19th, 1987. While police and security forces are about to be overwhelmed, President Chun mobilizes the army in the streets. Hard-pressed and panicked by a hostile crowd, an officer orders his troops to fire. In a matter of minutes, the shooting spreads all over the streets of Seoul. June 19th to the 21st, 1987. The crackdown is brutal, resulting in over 1,000 casualties and many more arrests. June 21st, 1987. With U.S. troops still confined to their barracks and the ROK army deployed in the streets, North Korean leader Kim Il-sung decides the time has come for Korea's reunification. June 22nd, 1987. When the North Korean artillery barrage rolls over the DMZ at dawn, U.S. and ROK units, disorganized by the civil unrest, are taken by complete surprise. June 22nd to the 27th, 1987. Within a few hours, the first lines of defense are overwhelmed. Within a few days, the battered U.S. and ROK units are pushed back to a last perimeter around the vital harbor of Busan.
Right, well, the game begins, and what I've been told from the forums here is that the campaign for Red Dragon here is going to be a mixture of both the campaign with from Wargame Air-Land Battle and from EE, so that's European Escalation. So this will be interesting to see how this plays out, and what I mean by that is, in Air and Land Battle, it was a whole bunch of these movements on like a Risk little campaign map, and you just sort of brought it out until one side won. But on the other hand, in EE, it was more so just a series of battles, really, and they've sort of done both of them at the same time now, so you do have some of these little dialogue sections. Anyhow, and these sections don't seem to have any dialogue, like, voice acting, so I suppose I'll just do them myself. Major, I'm sorry, but I cannot get through to the general headquarters. All communications with the front are cut off. Yes, wait, yes. I think I managed reaching an advanced post of the 3rd Infantry Battalion. I'll put you through right now. This is Sergeant June from 3rd Infantry. They totally thrashed us. They're coming straight at you. They're not even stopping to take prisoners. Ooh. And it looks like he has some infantry and some infantry regiments and some artillery and some armor near his HQ. So let's see. I'm gonna assume that the campaign map opens up here and we can start fighting. So this is actually, semi-similar to actually what originally happened inside the Korean War. The Korean forces and I think the UN forces were originally at the little DMZ line over here, and they eventually got pushed all the way back to roughly the same area in real life. Although once the U.S. troops started showing up, they were able to push all the way into North Korea. And that happened, I think, 4 weeks to get over here and 4 weeks to get over there. So, anyhow, let's check out what units we started off with and how they really play out. So one of the bigger changes that they've made on this whole campaign game mode is that inside the previous game, it was a lot about using these little armored or deck setups to just sort of move forward and to just sort of demolish enemy troops as well. But the problem with it was that your troops were these super heavy groups, or no, they would feature like either super heavy groups or really really light groups. And what people just typically did was that because you can buy these decks, people just only bought the pretty heavy troops and only used them. So what they've done now is that you'll have your heavy base decks like infantry battalions and stuff like that, and obviously they'll come with infantry and stuff like that. But now the planes and the helicopters and a lot of the support units are just individual little things that you can move around and place into different areas. So, let's check out what we have. Oh, I didn't mean to move that one there, but oh well, we can leave it there. Let's just check out what we have here and what the enemy have too. So, I mean, I think what we're supposed to do is just to defend this location right now. Evidently, I mean, we have full information on what the opponent's troops are, and it looks like over here they just have one tank battalion with a whole bunch of tanks and some recon stuff. Inside this tower they have like a few infantry companies and infantry regiment supported by some planes. And finally over here I see some heavy artillery, some tanks, and an infantry battalion over here. So what we can do is that it looks like we just have a whole bunch of troops in the rear here, and I think I'll assign some support. I'm guessing that we're supposed to just sort of defend for now, so I think I'll get the planes to come over here. I'm gonna assume that they're gonna attack on these two squares. It doesn't look like these provinces have names. Or no, they do. I think they're gonna attack at Yucheng and Daegu, so I think I'll assign air to those locations, and I'll move some some planes over there to support that location. But at the same time, I also want to protect this little flank too, so I'll send send some more tanks here. I think I'll actually just send some planes over there for now, and I'll keep these guys just sort of in reserve for now, I suppose. Actually, no, I think I'll send the heavy armor to over here. So we'll move these troops like that, and we will just sort of end the first turn. Oh, actually, we can buy some more troops. Well, in that case, let's check out what companies we can buy. Oh, and they're actually split up into land and ground forces too. I actually believe on this map some naval craft will actually come through here as the game sort of develops. Yeah, and evidently, I mean, they do have naval sectors present here as well. So, I think what we'll do here is that, I mean, our objectives are to ultimately reach the DMZ at turn 10. We have some points, and I think I'll spend them on an anti-air company, because I would imagine that would be a fairly valuable resource. So left click over here and that'll pop up, and I believe then we can move it around. So they have planes here and here, so they can attack all three of these tiles with their planes. I think I'll move my my newly founded anti-air corps to support our big group of armor right here. And furthermore, can we buy any more troops? We can buy some artillery, some anti-tank corps, and supply corps. So I think I'll buy an anti-tank corps and I'll deploy that here, and I'll move that over there for some support. Right. So the campaign movements is like you can pretty much buy these companies which are corps, and they are more so strategical, like little assets that you move around, and you mainly use your big units to just sort of defend locations, because the big units provide most of the heavy troops like infantry and tanks, and then the smaller ones provide, where the companies will provide tanks and infantry and or rather specialized troops like mortars and those ATGM carriers and stuff and such like that. So let's see, what can we do here? So we start off with 12,000 command points, a whole bunch of other stuff. It looks like they changed a few things now. Cohesion gives you a bonus to the amount of points you have. Three little formations of North Korean troops are attacking our big blob of troops, so this will be, I would say, a fairly easy battle, but that'll really depend on what equipment we have. So this will be really the first battle for this game, I suppose. So let's begin. Looks like we can deploy in all of these tiles, and they can only deploy on one tile. So from the base game, I mean, the minute that we lose these little sectors is rather the minute that the game starts, the sectors that we don't have a command vehicle in will just sort of disappear. And what I want to do right now is that there would seem to be a whole series of bridges here controlling the way on this map, and if we can say capture these bridge locations, I think we'll be fairly safed up from their little advance here. So let's deploy on those lines. It looks like these battles use some sort of morale system for losses and stuff and such, so that'll be fairly interesting to see how that plays out. Now we should have some tow missile launchers, because we do have that little anti-tank team. And I want to just secure all of these bridges, so I think I'll have 2 tows facing this bridge. I'll buy some infantry to get inside that city and occupy all of the stuff over there, including some of these RCL troops, which you've seen before. And these guys are super long-range tank sniper troops, but they're not particularly good at fighting when faced up against infantry, but we'll support them like that. Looks like we have some rocket artillery, and looks like no tanks though, which might be a little bit of a problem. So I'll just bring some more troops to really defend Bravo here, and I think I'll just get another command vehicle to cap this place out, and let's see what type of planes we can buy. Buy 3 of these F things for now, and yeah, pretty much it looks like we have a lot of infantry on this deck, but not enough tanks. So, oh well, we'll deploy something like that. Now, I usually don't use tanks in the multiplayer, so why should that be different there? Oh, and perfect, they have the sound effects for the units done now, too. So, I'll get my troops deployed inside these building squares. I'm trying to get them nicely spaced out. And about a single Stinger team to cover from planes. And, ooh, they are already coming with a lot of stuff. So we'll get our guys to deploy inside these squares of towns, and our troops will just start to brawl it out. And this is really a full invasion, just going off of all of the stuff that they have. Oh, those guys should deploy. There we go. So what I'm hoping for is that these battles will go a little bit faster now, more so due to the morale system. It looks like morale is just sort of a meter of points, where it's like the destruction game mode, where your overall objective is to ultimately just gain points, though they do it now so with a depleting meter instead of an increasing one. So yikes, the AI is still reactive as ever, and they're starting to drop napalm on my guys. And they're starting to flank around here against my little KM little APCs, which I'm just going to pull back. How are we doing over here? Looks like a single little convoy of cars is starting to slip by, but that's alright, we can reinforce over there. See their little mortars here, I'm going to call in an airstrike to deal with them. I'm actually really liking, like, my first impressions of this campaign is that it's really active, and the battles seem to be really fast-paced. Evidently, the opponents only start out with 800 points, and that's the amount that we sort of have to dwindle away in terms of enemy points. And for people who, you know, are just watching this series, what I mean by that is that all of the units inside the game, they have a cost associated with bringing them into the battlefield, but that is also the cost of taking them out of the battlefield. And what I mean by that is the more valuable a unit is, the more points you get for destroying it. It's actually the equal amount to buying the unit. And as that sort of goes along in the multiplayer arena, at least. When that happens, ooh, they're using smoke too. In the multiplayer arena, at least, usually one of the game modes that's really popular is just destroying groups of units and racking up points to win. And this seems fairly similar to that. Oh, they're going to that group of stuff is going to intercept my infantry inside these little towns. Should have bought some more infantry to be frank. I didn't imagine that their attacks would have started off like this. I think I'm actually going to need a lot more infantry soon, so I'll bring in some more troops. But it looks like we only have to whittle away just 104 more points from the enemy. So that's about like 3 infantry squads worth in terms of points, so it's not too much. Now my remaining little group of troops inside this little town is starting to run out of ammunition, unfortunately, for their little rocket launchers. So, well, I suppose this is sort of like a last-minute defense thing for the South Koreans, so there has to be some desperation in it, I suppose. Get some more troops from this like little factory compound, support them with a rocket launcher. And hopefully when that morale just disappears, you know, I'm not too particularly familiar with it, but with only 9 points to go, when one APC dies or one infantry squad dies, I hope that the battle will be sort of over, and the game just sort of says that we win. Get my planes here to make another run. Oh, there we go. So the battle is evidently over. Alright, so, yeah, we had a total victory. The battle was stopped because the enemy's losses exceeded their sustainable losses, and it looks like what had happened for that was our troops gained some morale on the campaign map here, and the enemy's people lost some morale, and they also lost some cohesion. So, yeah, that's fairly interesting. I think I'm running out of time for the first video here. I mean, I make these 20-minute segment videos, so I mean, if you just, you know, a quick reminder, if you guys enjoyed this series so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button below the video player, because it does help me out quite a bit, and it'll help you guys track further videos. So, going from here, I mean, inside air-land battle, the cohesion and the morale ratings, they really weren't all too indicative of what they actually did, but it looks like over here it's a little bit better. So cohesion appears to just it's like a little bonus thing to the amount of points that you have, so you can reinforce your troops a little bit faster, and morale looks like it changes that actual stat as to how fast the battle ends, so that is rather interesting. So we managed to push back their troops over here. Their attack was stopped, but we have a few more battles to go for this turn. Major, I've managed to contact the American headquarters. We should be getting information on their objectives soon. In the meantime, Busan must not fall before the American reinforcements arrive. So, it looks like we're just supposed to defend this location for 3 days, which I assume is 3 turns. Yeah, and we've already seen the reinforcements come by, so I suppose this is a little bit of a tutorial campaign. Oh, I see. The planes actually come back to base afterwards, too, so that's rather interesting. So there are a few more plant attacks. Can I? Yes, I can assign more support in these battles, too, so that's also pretty neat. I probably should have done this a little bit earlier, but we'll take a look at what troops we have in Busan right now, so we can assign some support. So I have some F-86s, and these planes we already saw before. Those were the rocket-firing ones that I had bought earlier. I have some F-16s, and those go up against other planes, but they're slightly expensive. Some KF-16, so this fighter squadron is pretty much just all interceptors. And this F-4th squadron is, it fires these infrared missiles that sort of hit tanks and vehicles and stuff and such like that. So we have 2 more battles here to fight. Over here, there is in Yuchang, there's no enemy air support, and for their ground support they have some artillery, they have tanks, they have more tanks, and they have some infantry armed little rocket or missile launchers, so I'm not too worried about there being planes over there. So I think I'll send this strike squadron over there along with the other strike squadron of those missile armed planes. And I'll send the fighter squadron over here because the enemy has a few of these SEU planes, and these guys drop heavy bombs, but they don't have very good ECM, and they're pretty slow, so we might be able to intercept them. And that's my timer. The first video probably ended. If it didn't, it should probably end soon. So let's get another battle going, and I suppose we'll just have to fight all of them for the map to be, where the turn to be over. Of course, we do have the option to auto-resolve or avoid the battle by withdrawing. So, yeah, I mean, the North Koreans are gonna push in here again. We start off with good amount of points, more than they do, and it'll be another one of these little destruction game modes, I suppose. So we'll launch the battle, and we'll see how this goes. So I'm actually, like, just, on my first impressions, I'm really liking how they're doing this system